Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of 5 Minute Major Radio. Tonight, my normal broadcast partner in crime, Matt Giovanni. We are joined by longtime friend, longtime hockey companion, Boy Scout, etc. Can go down the list. Matthew Hoagland. Matt, thanks for joining the show tonight.
Howdy, y'all.
Yeah, so tonight, guys, we have a lot to discuss on our plate, obviously. Like we mentioned last week, Flyers hockey is back. Tomorrow being the home opener. So we will highlight the Flyers are currently, I don't know if you two know, the Flyers are 1-0 after defeating the Chicago Blackhawks 4-3 in Prague. We will then give our thoughts on the home opener, and just kind of general around the league thoughts, and then now discuss the Rage Room at the Wells Fargo Center. So, boys, we'll just head right into it. Matt, I'll give you courtesy being our guest. Just your overall thoughts on the Flyers win against the Chicago Blackhawks last Friday in Prague.
Sure. I thought it was a great game. Got the boys came out like on fire. They seemed to really play the puck well, played with each other well. Definitely a lot of missing names with Patrick out and those other big guys, but I think the lines were rolling and it was a different chemistry than last year. Definitely. I'm excited. I'm excited for these guys. I'm excited for tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, for sure. Matt, your initial thoughts on the Flyers W?
It was different, but it was a good different. The Flyers actually scored the first goal of the game. Can't remember the last time that happened, but like Matt said, they came out on fire, played a good first period, a little shaky at first, but once they got the wheels turning, they played a really good game, honestly. The forecheck was rolling, everything was going well for them, and Travis Konechny, obviously, if you guys don't know, they signed him, and he had 3 points, so good start for the Flyers.
Agreed. Yeah, Travis Konechny had a huge game. All of last year, he only had 1 3-point game in the entire season. This year, he's had 1 3-point game in 1 games played. So I'll take that. And both his goals were absolute beauties. First that snipe, and then the backhand snipe after he undressed the one Chicago defender. Of course, overall, my thoughts: Alain Vigneault going ahead and changing the lines after that disappointing effort that we touched on last week's episode, Matt and I did, in regards to that game in Switzerland. And it kind of definitely got Flyers Twitter in a bit of some ruffled feathers. But Alain Vigneault kind of made us all look like idiots of those who opposed the line changes. And overall, it worked. I thought Ivan Provorov had an okay game. I mean, I am one of Ivan's biggest defenders personally. He started out shaky, but I think he got better as the game went on. Just it's first game of the year, so there's going to be some rust overall. I mean, Kevin Hayes showed again why the Flyers went out and made sure they got him a week before free agency starts, so they had those extra negotiating rights. It's looking like probably one of, if not one of the best offseason additions in the entire league. And Carter Hart was Carter Hart. I mean, not too many of the goals. I mean, you're playing Chicago Blackhawks. Are they the Chicago Blackhawks of years past? No, they're not. But when you still have, Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane on your team, along with now a rejuvenized Dylan Strome and Alex DeBrincat, they still have some good weapons up there. And Patrick Kane also had 3 points. He had a point I think he had a goal and 2 assists. So he was involved in every goal that Chicago scored. I mean, shocking news there, boys. Would it have been nice if they maybe kept the game at control and won 4-2 and it wasn't a 4-3 game late? Sure. But, they hunker down when they need to, and they got the W, which is the most important thing. And I think it's the 4th year in a row they've actually started the season out 1-0. So hopefully they can kind of turn this in the right way in gears towards momentum. Because moving on to the home opener, guys, now. This is kind of what we've seen this from the Flyers the past 4 years now, where they've come out of the gate hot, and either they've stumbled or they've gone with it, and we're 2-2 versus making the playoffs and missing the playoffs. So boys, either one takes the floor and give your thoughts and your your opinions on going to the home opener tomorrow against the New Jersey Devils and Wayne Simmons returning to Philadelphia.
Go ahead, Mastro.
I think it's gonna be a toss-up at this point. It kind of brings to like the rest versus rust aspect where, I mean they've had what's it called? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be tomorrow. Counting tomorrow, they'll have 5 days between games, plus that travel all the way back from Prague. They did have a day off today, I saw, but I did see that actually most of the team actually practiced and skated today, which was cool.
I think that was on Monday, actually. Not to interrupt you there, Master. I think that was Monday was their mandate day off, but a lot of players showed up, and the majority of the team came to skate on their own.
I got to double check that. No, oh yeah, Monday, sorry. I just saw the tweet today. All right, yeah. So, yeah, but I mean that shows that they obviously want to stay sharp, stay fresh. And it's good initiative by them where I'm sure it's brownie points for the players and the coaching staff's book, especially for Vigneault. It's going to be – I feel like there's going to be a lot of emotion in tomorrow's game, especially with Wayne Simmons coming back to the Wells Fargo Center for the first time. I think it's the first time, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the first time since he got traded after that Stadium Series game. But I'm sure he'll get a warm welcome followed by a not-so-warm welcome. Knowing the Flyers' luck, he'll probably score a hat trick and get the game winner somehow. But it'll be exciting to see him again. Obviously, not exciting to see him in a Devils jersey, but just knowing what he did for this team, how he played, and what he gave to the city, all that. It'll be he'll get a nice standing ovation, maybe even a tribute video for Lucky. But the Devils, I mean, the Devils are a different team too. Aside from Simmons being back, they can't overlook the Devils being kind of a revamped team here with guys like Jack Hughes, Taylor Hall's back. They got Subban on the blue line. So I mean, the Devils are no joke. Yeah, they're no joke at this point. So the Flyers kind of have to put the personal emotion aside and still play hockey and hopefully come away with 2 points.
Yeah, definitely. You know, these Devils, they're a scary team, but they've eaten some games this past weekend. They went up 4-0 against the Jets and lost in a shootout. Like,
yep,
that's pretty tough. You got to hold on to that lead there.
And then the next night they lose 7-2 to Buffalo.
Yeah, and Buffalo's not that good either. Like I think we have a strong chance against them, but I mean, you never know. Like, you can't contain freaking Taylor Hall and you never know with Jack Hughes either. Could go off and score a hattie against us, knowing his luck as a rookie. I definitely think the boys will come out hot tomorrow night, especially being at home, especially coming off that 1-0 win. I did read that yesterday was a mandatory day off from the NHL. But it is pretty sweet that everybody skated anyways, except for I read Lawton and Niskanen for some medical reasons or something like that.
Yeah, I saw apparently Lawton was getting his wisdom teeth out.
Yikes.
So, and I saw somewhere, I don't know where this came from, but apparently someone made a joke about Niskanen getting Botox. So,
really?
I don't know where that came from, but that's what I just saw on Twitter. But that's kind of funny. But yeah, Lawton apparently was getting his wisdom teeth out, which I found kind of funny as well. But yeah, like you guys said, it's good to see that the players taking initiative on a mandated day off, and they still want to obviously work and keep the legs sharp and stay fresh for tomorrow night.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm definitely pumped. I'm amped that Matt and I will be there. So I'm just amped to go see Flyers regular season hockey yet again in person. And overall, I'm expecting the boys to come out hot. They want to put forth. They're pro athletes in Philadelphia. They know what's been said about them for the past couple years. So does Claude Giroux, Jake Voracek. Like this core that's been here the past couple years knows they've gotten kind of a bad rep in the city. And Claude Giroux, he's currently the longest tenured Philadelphia athlete. Yep. So he knows what the city's like when you're winning. And you can definitely tell based on what you've seen behind the scenes in these Flyers Behind the Glass on NHL Network, that the man gives a damn, and he wants to win the Stanley Cup very badly here in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like I said, I expect the boys to come out hot and roll. And honestly, Matt, I was saying this all summer on our podcast. The Devils don't scare me. I still don't think they're that good of a hockey team. Yes, Jack Hughes is phenomenal. He's a generational talent, but he's a rookie, and he's not Connor McDavid and not Austin Matthews. He's probably a step below them. He could be there one day, but he's not there yet. Wayne Simmons doesn't scare me anymore. I mean, I love Simmer. I love him to death. I do feel betrayed by him signing with the New Jersey Devils. He will get a cheer from me during his tribute, which I'm sure he'll get a video. But after that, I'm booing the man. Matt knows both you guys probably know my feelings. We probably talked about it. The man played here almost a decade in Philadelphia. New Jersey Devils are supposed to be one of your arch rivals, a team that you hate. And hockey players keep rivalries around for a while. And, you could have signed back here in Philly, but I'm sure the Flyers probably weren't offering him what the Devils paid. But at the end of the day, loyalty has to mean something. And me personally, I'll love Simmer the day he stops playing for the Devils or a team in the Metropolitan Division, but I'm booing him. And I am not ashamed to admit it. If he went and signed with Toronto, where he's from, or Ottawa, or even a team we hate that's outside of it, like the Boston Bruins, I wouldn't have given him crap for it because it's the Boston Bruins and they're perennial winners, and who can blame them? The Bruins were just in the Stanley Cup final. Like, the dude wants to win. Like, good for you, Wayne. You're going to a place you have a chance. But New Jersey, you have Corey Schneider, who can't stay healthy, who looked really bad over the weekend. Yeah. And Mackenzie Blackwood, who's the other backup goalie, who I'm taking Carter Hart in net over Blackwood any day of the week. So I just don't. And Nikita Gusev hasn't showed up yet. And I'll watch, of course, tomorrow night. No, that'll be the game that Gusev shows up finally. But based off what I've seen from the Devils over the weekend, they've been embarrassed. And Corey Schneider is getting the start tomorrow night. He has not been good. He's prone to injuries. Blackwood got lit up Saturday night against the Buffalo Sabres, who, are an okay team. They do have Jack Eichel, Casey Middlestat, Jeff Skinner, and Rasmus Dahlin. I mean, they have some good pieces, and they're definitely trending upward. But they got embarrassed. Definitely, the Devils are going to come out. They're gonna want to try and show their fans that they're not a joke. That the hockey world thinks of them right now. But overall, I'm expecting the Flyers to come out hot, play well in front of this stadium crowd. Also, a lot of the team, Matt, Hoagie, you and I were at this game last year's home opener. I'm sure a lot of Flyers on this current roster remember what happened last home opener when they got shelled. What was it, like 9-2 by the San Jose Sharks?
Yeah, it was something.
Not a great start to your home ice season. And I'm thinking that might be in the mind of a lot of players. Are going to say, we're going to come out and we're going to give this Philly crowd what they want. I'll even be as bold to give a score prediction for tomorrow. Ooh. I'm going to say it's 5-1 Flyers.
Oh,
I think Carter Hart lets in one goal. And other than that, I think they just stormroll the Devils. I think it's no contest. Now, I will accept full responsibility if they lose. I will own up to it completely, but I'm saying a 5-1 Flyers win tomorrow, boys. I am that confident. The only two teams in the division that really give me any feelings are the Washington Capitals and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Other than that, I think the Flyers are a top 3 team in this division this season. And I'm going to bet with that. I also said that Travis Konechny will score 30 goals this season, and he's already got 2. So that's trending upward right now. So I'm riding hot at the moment. Either you boys want to give score predictions?
I gotta say a couple things piggybacking off of that bold prediction. One thing I will say is that I feel like the Devils are going to come into this game almost with a little bit of desperation. I hate to use that word just 3 games into the season, but they have yet to win. They're 0-1-1 at this point, so the Flyers have to kind of come in, and this takes me to my next point, where they have to come in strong, and they have to this is a really good chance for the Flyers to build on momentum, which is something that they had a lot of trouble doing last season, game after game, night in, night out, that kind of stuff. But coming off that win in the Czech Republic, this is their only home game for the next 10 days. So after this, they play this game, and then they go on the road, like I said, for the next 10 days on the Western Canada swing. They play Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton back-to-back, and then they come home again for the first time in, again, 10 days against Dallas on the 19th. So this is one of those things where they want to keep the momentum from overseas going and then ride that into this road trip, because the schedule is not easy to start off, because they've probably already traveled more than any other team in the league, maybe aside from Chicago since they were also overseas. But coming home from one game and going right back on the road all the way to Western Canada is going to be tough. So,
whereas Chicago is going into a nice 7-game homestand.
Yeah.
Whereas the Flyers' longest homestand this entire season is 3 games.
This game is going to be this game is going to be big. Where, like I said, they want to keep the ball rolling. They want to. That's one of my biggest keys for them this year, is that they have to be consistent, and they have to be able to ride the momentum from one night into another game and not just act like they haven't played hockey before and come in and lay an egg. So this is a big game. They don't want to look down on the Devils. They don't want to play down to them, which is something they did a lot last season too. So they need to come out strong, bury them early, and just keep their foot on the gas, and just, like I said, just get 2 points and then go on the road. So I'd say this is a big game, the first big game of the season, because I mean the season opener is special, all that being in Europe, but back in front of the home crowd, it's going to be rocking in the Wells Fargo Center, and they need to obviously harness that energy and just play their game.
And score prediction, Matt? Are you going to be so bold? Are you going to follow my cotton strategy there?
I don't want to make a score prediction. Just after all that we've gone through last season with this team, I don't even know if I'm going to make any predictions this season unless they go on a hot streak or anything like that. But there's no telling. Maybe that's a good thing though, since it's like there's a lot of new faces and stuff like that. There's really, for me at least personally, there's no prediction for this game.
Well, Hoagie, what are your thoughts? Will you be willing to make a bold strategy, Cotton, there, and a score prediction?
You know what? I'll go 4-2 Flyers, and I'm gonna give Kevin Hayes at least a goal.
Ooh, okay.
I think Kevin Hayes is gonna come out hot. He was definitely noticeable in the first game. They definitely started to try to spring him, try to give him his first goal as a Flyer. It's definitely in the third period. I think he's gonna come out tomorrow night. Probably put some shots on net and put some quality shots on net. I was really excited to see him. You definitely noticed him. It was different with him out there. When Simmons was out there as a Flyer, he's big, he's out there. But Kevin Hayes, he's big and he can make plays with his body, and definitely keep people away from him with the puck. So I'm excited for him to come out. I think Giroux's gonna go quiet again tomorrow night, like he did on Friday. Him and Voracek will probably be quiet.
Really, I kind of think that Voracek and Giroux both might come out hot of the gate because they want to set a good tone for this Philly crowd this season.
They could. I mean, Giroux definitely. He might come out and surprise us and just go off. But I mean, after Friday with him, Voracek, and who else went quiet on Friday? Was it JVR?
Coots, JVR.
Yeah, all those big names that were paying these guys, they all went quiet. Where freaking Travis Konechny, who definitely got paid the way he should have. But yeah, I mean, he had a phenomenal game, and I think he's definitely gonna come out super hot and ready to roll some bodies, like he usually does. So
if TK drops the gloves tomorrow night with someone on the Devils, I wouldn't be surprised either, because he's just the type of player.
He'll be the type of player to go after Simmons.
See, it's gonna be weird because Simmons being here for so long and being here with a lot of the guys on this core, Simmons is still probably a beloved character in this city. Although I know for sure the fan base is divided. There's some that will say Wayne Simmons can do no wrong, and there's probably another portion who feel like me where, yeah, I love him, but you did me dirty, bruh. So who knows? It'll be interesting. I agree. TK is going to come out big, like I mentioned. Giroux. I'm hoping that Giroux definitely will come out of the gates firing. I hope Voracek does. Now that he's been named officially as an assistant captain this season, I'm hoping we can see big things because big things from Jake. Because when Jake Voracek's on, he's easily a top 5 right winger in the entire league. But when he's off, he's really off.
Yeah.
And we've all talked about this before. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm not worried. It's Carter Hart versus Corey Schneider. Corey Schneider is not the same goalie that we saw in Vancouver all those years when he was backing up Luongo, then in a tandem with Luongo, and then when he was in the tandem with Marty Brodeur. He's not that same goalie anymore. He's gotten old. He's gotten injury prone, and he left the game against the Jets with an injury. Apparently, it was cramping, or that's at least what the Devils said. Who truly knows? No medical report was released, obviously. But Corey Schneider's not Corey Schneider anymore, and so at this point, obviously Philadelphia bias. Carter Hart's the next coming of Jesus, so I'm thinking a big game from Carter Hart, definitely in front of this Philly crowd. Here's hoping, fingers crossed, he breaks out those all black pads we saw in training camp, because those things are disgusting in the most pleasant way possible.
Yes.
So, boys, I think unless you guys got anything else to add on about the home opener coming up tomorrow, which of course is 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be on Wednesday Night Hockey on NBCSN. Sorry, no free ads, but got to give people what they want and know where they can watch the game. It'll also be on 97.5 The Fanatic FM back in Philadelphia. But that's going to be a big thing. Unless you boys got anything else to add about the home opener, we can move on to our next topic for tonight's episode, and we can talk about some random things around the league.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so I guess the first and foremost thing we can talk about that happened today was that an unrestricted free agent was signed, and a rather important one headed back home. Patrick Marleau signed a 1-year contract with the San Jose Sharks worth $700K, so a little bit above league minimum. Of course, obviously, he got traded from the Toronto Maple Leafs to the Carolina Hurricanes this offseason. Carolina bought him out, and thus he was a free agent. He had talks with a couple other teams. Originally went to the Sharks. They weren't interested. Right now, of course, the Sharks are a dumpster fire. Can't get a save from Martin Jones or Anders Dell. And they're just not scoring, and their defense is a wreck. So I'm thinking they're definitely looking to bring Patrick Marleau back in, who's probably still a big voice in that locker room, because that core is still there that he left a couple years ago. And, he's Mr. When you think of the San Jose Sharks, you think of Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau. So a big signing for him. I'm sure he's happy to go home. So, boys, what are your thoughts on Patty Marleau heading back home to San Jose, California?
I was not surprised, but I don't know. I saw it and I was like, he's going home. He's been there for 20 years at least it was, and I think this might be that kind of towards the end for him. I think maybe one more run and see what happens, and then might call it quits. Maybe if they're not in contention this year, he might get traded off again, and then probably see you later.
Yeah, probably for him and Jumbo. I don't think the Sharks, the team they're showing right now, I think they just still have too much skill. I mean, Martin Jones has proved that he's one of the better goalies in the league when he's playing right. I mean, they have Erik Karlsson and Brent Burns along with Logan Couture, and we can just keep on listing their all-star names they have on that roster. But you're right, Matt. It kind of is. Maybe this might be it for Patrick Marleau. Mastro, what are your thoughts on Marleau?
I think it's the right move for the Sharks and for Marleau. If this is his last season, he obviously, I would assume, wants to play with the team that he's played the majority of his career with. He's 40 years old now. He's at the tail end of his career, I'd say. But knowing how skilled San Jose is, like you said, Dave, they can hopefully make a run for him. And then if they do fall short, then I wouldn't be surprised if he called it quits after this season, or as mentioned before, if he got dealt near the trade deadline to a potential contender. But he probably, I'm sure, has deep roots in San Jose, so going back there from being in Toronto for the past couple of years probably isn't too much of a transition. It's probably nice to be back in familiar territory. He's just one of those guys where he's been around for a long time. Unfortunately, hasn't had any success with a cup, but maybe he'll get one this year. I don't know, but I don't want to say I hope not because then like the Flyers won't win. But he obviously he could be one of those guys where he's gonna be because reading this article on NHL.com, he's San Jose's leader in games, goals, and points. So he's obviously gonna be a San Jose. What's he called? Hold on, let me rephrase that. His name is definitely gonna be in the rafters in San Jose. I'd say.
Yes.
Maybe a Hall of Famer. Who knows? But he just unfortunately hasn't been able to get over the hump to get a cup. Probably thought he could do it in Toronto, but again, the Maple Leafs always ran into the Bruins and couldn't get over that hump. So just been a tough ride for him, but I'm sure he's glad that he's home. He's still making a decent chunk of money, and he's probably just having fun with it at this point.
For sure, for sure. A couple other big games that happened this weekend, of course, since the season started. Obviously, Toronto and that opening game of Toronto and Ottawa was obviously a fantastic game. The Sharks Golden Knights games to start the year have been a powder keg. That's become one of the best rivalries in the NHL already in that short history of both of those teams. And over the weekend, you had Sidney Crosby dropping the gloves with Pierre-Luc Dubois of the Columbus Blue Jackets.
He didn't fight him, though. He wrestled him.
Let me chime in on that one. I commented on that freaking Bleacher Report thing, and I go, didn't even do anything. Fucking child, like always, probably called for help from the refs. And some guy whose handle on Bleacher Report was Pens Mets Fins goes, I wager he could fuck you up. I didn't reply, but someone that has a handle of Pens, Mets, and Dolphins shouldn't even fucking talk. Like,
yeah,
come on now.
Unless he's from Finland.
I doubt it.
But yeah, other than that, there's been, just overall, it's the NHL season. There's been a crap ton of games that have started since last Wednesday. And overall, it's just nice. It's a nice feeling when you can sit down on your couch at home and turn on the TV and go, there's hockey on. It's a fantastic feeling.
So again, just to touch on that Sharks-Knights rivalry again, it kind of sucks. They don't play each other again until mid-November.
Well, Evander Kane will be back by then from suspension.
Well, I mean, he's already back, but I'm just saying they don't play each other again until November 21st. So, I mean, I'm sure, like you said, this has become one of the best rivalries in the game at this point. So, I think every game will have its fireworks, especially with Ryan Reeves on the ice. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's fireworks on that game, but kind of sucks. It'll maybe have things settle down, but once it gets closer, I'm sure it'll ramp up again. It's almost like WWE promotions where they're having guys kind of like not poke fun at each other, but I guess for lack of better terms, talk shit. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that next meeting. But Vegas has had their numbers so far, so we'll see.
Vegas is 2-0, obviously they've only played the Sharks, and I think they've scored 9 goals in those 2 games.
Yeah.
So offense definitely not being a problem for the Vegas Golden Knights. And Ryan Reeves, man, he is a player who I've always kind of said I want him in orange and black. It's probably not going to happen because he's getting a little bit older. He's a personality. And there's a problem with hockey. Sometimes there's not enough personality in our game, unfortunately. Sometimes you do get some bland athletes here and there, unless you're in our beer league, of course, and there's tons of personality. But Ryan Reeves, just the comments he was making about when a reporter asked him about Evander Kane being suspended. It's like, well, you can't be taken down by a ref, eh? It's embarrassing. I'm like, damn, I can't wait till he's back because that's going to be an absolute tilt. Of course, fighting still belongs in hockey. Everyone remembers that. But he's just a guy who stirs the pot. He's a big, bruising power forward. I wouldn't call him an enforcer because he can play. Yeah. He's not like Jody Shelley or, rest in peace to Derek Bugard or a
John Scott.
or John Scott, All-Star MVP John Scott, though. We have to make note of that. Like he's not one of the guys who is a true enforcer, where really their only purpose out there was to fight. Ryan Reeves, the dude can play. He's a good fourth line forward. Now, of course, there's probably a good portion of people around the United States and Canada, maybe especially in the San Jose area, who think he's not like that. But I can definitely tell you right now that the people in St. Louis and the people of Las Vegas love Ryan Reeves. And he's always a player when I'm doing my NHL be a GM mode, and I see he's a free agent, throw him a contract there and in a good old NHL and add him on my fourth line for that good old hockey mentality toughness there. But boys, do either of you have any highlights from this past almost week now of NHL action?
I'm tired of fucking hearing that the Bruins are 2-0 up here in good old Boston, so I'm hoping they fucking lose tonight to the Golden Knights. So who are also 2-0, the Golden Knights.
Yeah, the Leafs are exciting to watch.
Yeah, the Leafs are always exciting to watch, and this they had that same problem as they did last year, where they're getting a little too run and gunny. They blew a 4-1 lead against the Montreal Canadiens Saturday and lost. And son of former Flyer semi-captain Kasperi Kapanen broke his stick and then threw it at
Jeff Petrie.
At Jeff Petrie, who then scored on the penalty shot. And I'm sure we try and keep this podcast feeling rated. Matt, the couple ones you dropped already there, it's fine. But everyone knows the chirp that Max Domi threw at Kasperi Kapanen. For those of you who want to go look and read it and read lips, you'll definitely know what we're talking about there, which is absolutely fantastic. But overall, just adding to that rival, that history of that rivalry. There's been a lot of good games and a lot of good action. Tonight, there's a couple good games going on right now. The Jets are beating the Penguins 4-1, so that makes me happy to see. Of course, but Sidney Crosby scored his first goal of the year.
Apparently, this is his favorite day, too. What was the thing earlier? Hold on, let me find it. 14 years after scoring his first NHL goal, Sidney Crosby's notched goal number 447.
Hey, good for Sid. In years past, I used to always hate on Sid growing up a Flyer. In my younger days, the Flyers fan, before I grew to respect overall athletes. Like, yes, I hate Sidney Crosby because he plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But let's be real here. If the Philadelphia Flyers drafted Sidney Crosby, he would be, beloved. He'd be in the same talks as Eric Lindros, John LeClaire, Simone Gagne, Bobby Clark, etc. He'd be in that group of Philadelphia athlete. So hate him because he's a Penguin, but love and respect his skill, and kind of happy now because the league without Sidney Crosby is definitely a lighter place. And there's a couple of years where you thought he might retire because he might not be able to play anymore because of all those concussions. Yeah, it's glad to see that the man's come back and definitely gotten everything that he's gotten back before he had the concussion issues.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that the game going on right now, the Oilers and the Islanders are playing, and James Neal has a natural hat trick. He's got 5 goals already this season, which is already one less than Milan Lucic had all season last year with the Oilers.
And James Neal only had 7 goals last year, the entire season for the Calgary Flames.
And
so he's got 5 now.
What player isn't going to get a boost playing with McDavid and Draisaitl? So, I think Spittin' Chicklets said it first, where I'd definitely have him penciled in for at least 30 goals this year.
Oh, if he plays with McDavid the whole year, for sure.
Yep. I think that's kind of it for now. What say we rage a little bit?
Yes, a rage. I do love some Rage Against the Machine. Boom. But there's Matt. If you want to, you're the one who broke the news to me about this, so I'm gonna, Mastro. I'm gonna let you take the reins on the Rage Room.
All right. So bear with me here because I'm gonna read off this article, and then I'm also gonna express how I feel about it all. But the Flyers announced earlier today that there is a disassembly room that is now part of the Wells Fargo Center. Earlier this month, so this is quoted from the article, earlier this month, the Wells Fargo Center unveiled the assembly room as part of its completely reimagined new city terrace level. It's named after the assembly room in Independence Hall in historic Philadelphia, blah, blah, blah. It's basically a standing room only area, one of the first of its kind for the NHL and even in any sort of arena. But now the quote unquote rage room is appropriately named the disassembly room, which is behind the assembly room. So, according to the article, it's the rage room style space allows fans and guests a stress relieving outlet amid all of the game action. As Flyers fans, we definitely have a lot of stress that we need to take out. So this could be a good idea. Through scheduled sessions that can be reserved in advance, participants wearing protective gear can smash, break, and unleash their rage upon everyday items like TVs and dishes using bats, sledgehammers, and more. Some of the items that can be disassembled might even bear the logo of an opposing team, so you might be able to hit a TV with a sledgehammer that has a Penguins logo on it.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, but so it seems like a cool thing. It's obviously, again, according to the article, it's part of the Wells Fargo's quote-unquote Transformation 2020 project, basically revamping the entire arena to make it state-of-the-art. Part of that has obviously been the new scoreboard above the ice, the new standing room only assembly room, like I said, this new rage room. They also just unveiled Gritty's Command Center, whatever that seems fun. All I saw, it basically, the Gritty Command Center to me just looks like a construction site, and I saw a guy, a little kid getting sprayed in the face with orange powder. So I don't know how that works, but
pretty much.
That's there now.
The Gritty room is like Gritty's headquarters, like where Gritty lives at the Wells Fargo Center.
Yeah,
so it's like
yeah,
a whole bunch
yeah.
of TVs with different NHL games on it, like computers set up, kind of like he's like watching the whole arena. And you can get like your face powdered and face painted to look like Gritty.
Yeah, but so that stuff's here now. But it takes me to the next part of this whole thing where I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer here, but for me personally, it's cool that they're doing all this stuff in the arena. I tweeted this earlier. It's basically saying that I'm all for making the game experience better in the arena itself, but myself, and I'm sure you guys and so many other people would probably agree with this in the fact that at the end of the day, people want to go to the Wells Fargo Center to see a good hockey team. Yep. All this stuff is should be an added bonus to that, where I feel like, again, myself, personally, I wouldn't go to a Flyers game, especially with how expensive things are nowadays, to waste almost half the game smashing something with a hammer or having orange powder sprayed in my face. But again, I'm there for the game. I'm sure everyone else is too. This stuff is just added bonuses to add to the experience of being there. But again, I think it's all well and good that they're doing this kind of stuff. But I think, again, myself and everyone else just wants a good hockey team to watch and just wants a good experience game-wise, as opposed to stuff, I don't want to say gimmicks, but they are kind of gimmicks where they might be distracting you from the fact that the Flyers might be playing poorly. But it's like, I mean, does anyone really get that angry at a Flyers game where they're like, I wish I could smash a TV right now?
The answer is probably yes.
I mean, I guess it's good that option is available now, but it's like, come on, like, at that point, I would just be like, listen, take it easy, like, you should know how this team works, like, why are you so angry? But it will be cool. It'd be cool to go in the rage room, but again, it's not one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to make it my mission to get in there during a game. But I'm sure you guys, again, can echo this sentiment that I just want to see them play well and win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, Mastro. You know, and I think the Gritty Command Center is more for kids and more for families to do. It's aimed at targeting the younger audience, and it's trying to improve the overall fan attitude. At the end of the day, I just agree with everything you said. Like it's cool that the Flyers now have it and Comcast is doing it to try and improve the stadium experience at the Wells Fargo Center. But notice a couple years ago, like 10 years ago, when the Flyers, were a winning competitive Stanley Cup contending team, they didn't have to do this type of stuff because everyone who went to the Wells Fargo Center went to go watch a damn good hockey team. And at the end of the day, that's all I care about. I'm a season ticket holder now this season, so I've literally, I've given a good chunk of my money to this team.
Yeah,
it's an investment. I definitely want to see my money be put towards something that's going to be a good product, or else guess what? I'm going to be a consumer and say I wasn't given what I was promised. I'll have my subscription, and now I'm revoking it. You don't get my money anymore.
Well,
of course.
It takes me back to last year, like when I shared a season ticket package with my friend and his dad and a family friend of theirs, and we talked about this on this same podcast last season where there was a time where the Flyers were giving away free tickets, and as a season ticket holder, you pay good money for those tickets, and people are getting them for free because the team is awful, and it's like you're giving this team thousands of dollars, which they pretty much don't need, and like you see emails going out to people where they're basically just giving away tickets. I mean, you can go back and listen to them, but I was pissed off that was happening, where I paid my good hard-earned money to go see these games, even though they were pretty much awful for all of the season last year, and they're giving away tickets. There were little to no perks to being a season ticket holder. I'm kind of bummed I didn't do it this year, but I mean, I don't have the money for a full season ticket package, but they definitely know that they screwed up on the ice and off the ice, because the people that I was sharing this ticket package with, they didn't renew their subscription because of the fact that A, the team was so bad, and B, you really didn't get anything out of the experience besides having guaranteed seats in the same place for every game. There was no inside edge like they have now with the you get, like, what is it, Dave? You have like the debit card for concessions and the fan shop. You get your own like lane for concessions. Like, none of that was around, and I don't know how it took them that long to figure out that there's the people that are giving them the most amount of money as season ticket holders and the people that have been dedicated to this team for so long, financial-wise, time-wise, all that stuff, aren't getting treated nearly as well as they should be.
So it's funny that you say that, Matt, because last year I was just a partial plan holder. I had, like 10 games or something like that, Dave, or something?
I think so.
Obviously, I didn't get to go to all those games because I moved halfway through the season to Boston. And like even going to those games as a partial plan holder, I was like, man, this really fucking sucks. I'm watching them lose every freaking night.
Yeah.
And last year, my mom's best friend from college, she ended up giving up her season tickets after 40 years.
Yes, yep.
She was just so upset with what the Flyers organization was turning to. Like I don't know, like she didn't like the whole dance team idea. She didn't like all the theatrics that they were turning into, like an AHL team is. Like what they're doing in like the lobby and everything. I expect to see that at a Phantoms game, not a Flyers game. Also, I was watching a video last week or something like that where like Gritty is, and you both know how much I love Gritty, but Gritty's in the stands during play and making a commotion during play. Like, and he's in the lower stands too. Like, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, there's a time, there's a place, not during play.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta do it during commercials, during intermissions, what have you, not during play. Like, I love my Flyers. I love the organization. I want to see them win a fucking Stanley Cup. Excuse my language, but they are gearing more towards a family-friendly atmosphere, which I understand. Like we're the Broad Street Bullies. We're always going to be tough, and the fans are going to be tough to each other. Like 2010 playoffs, I got a beer spill on me, and I'm like, "Yep, this is what it means to be a Philly fucking fan." You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
that. I was like, "Yeah, this is awesome." And then like now they're just changing it so much. So
yeah, they're definitely changing it. No, I had some inside sources, not a big deal, mentioned to me that actually this is one of Chuck Fletcher's ideas. He came in and he said to like the Flyers marketing PR says like, what this previous regime did for this fan base was not enough. And we need to change it because I can tell you right now that we have a negative fan opinion right now of this team. And obviously, when you have a negative fan opinion, that's going to leak into your locker room and it's going to affect the play on the ice at some days.
Yeah.
And so they've definitely put a good effort in as far, season tickets, they did raise prices, but one of the perks this year is you get to skate with the team, which is like Claude Giroux's been one of my favorite hockey players since he broke into the Flyers back in 2008. Like, I think my girlfriend Brenna is gonna have to control me from fangirling if I get a chance to meet and shake Claude Giroux's hand. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. And a photo day with Gritty, and you're right, Matt. They do have your own. Not only do you get 20% off on concessions and merchandise, you have your own lanes, your own line for both of those items. And they're just overall they say they renovated the season ticket holder lounge, but Mastro and I both know it's just a bar that's in their own private room. But yeah, other than that, I feel as though the Flyers, they're trying to do things to improve, their image in Philadelphia, because they're owned by Comcast. They're used to being up here, and right now they're down here, and they're not a fan of that. And Comcast is they have the pockets. The pockets are very deep at Comcast, and they have the money to do this. And the Wells Fargo Center still is a beautiful arena. It was before the renovations. Now it's getting a modern touch. The new scoreboard is, Hoagie, I hope you get to come down back from Beantown Land and come down to a game and go view this scoreboard, because it's something to be seen. But boys, we are approaching that time now. Is there anything else you two would like to add into closing?
James Neal has 4 goals now.
Damn.
So he now officially has as many goals in 3 games this season than Lucic did in 72 or 79 with the Oilers last year.
I think Calgary's going to regret that trade there. But I think both players needed to change in scenery, but Lucic is not James Neal.
Yeah.
Lucic is a lost cause at this point.
You hate to see it.
You just hate to see it.
Also, speaking of meeting Flyers players, did you guys see? I met Michael Layton a while ago. Did you guys see he retired yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
Michael Layton did retire today. I think I played 110 NHL games. Of course, most known for his run of being in a tandem with Brian Boucher in 2010.
Yeah, I think he played 18 seasons with 21 different pro teams.
He's the AHL's all-time shutout leader.
Yep.
For goalie stats. He is one of the best AHL goaltenders in that league's history.
Yep.
Just the dude who could do it down the minors, who could do it really well, but then just couldn't really translate to the NHL. He had to get a brief chance with the Flyers.
He did it. You know what? He did it well when we needed him to do it well.
Yeah.
And Patty Kane just ripped that famous wrist shot of his. And I will be the fan to say it. I don't remember. I didn't see that goal go in. I really didn't.
It still hurts.
It still hurts, Matt. This is still a sore subject.
Too soon. 10 years later.
Closest that we came, man. It was crazy.
Yes, indeed. But congrats to the Layton, obviously. I'm not sure if he ever won any Calder Cups down in the minor leagues, but he'll be forever remembered in the 2010 Cup run. Unfortunately, maybe for more negative than positive, but in that Eastern Conference final against the Montreal Canadiens, he was lights out. So, any other things in closing, boys? Or are we good to wrap this one up this week?
I think we're good to wrap it up, at least on my end.
Yeah, so Matt, for those of our fan base here on 5 Major Radio, where can they find you, maybe on Twitter or Instagram, if they wanted to shoot you a follow?
Which Matt?
Oh, Hoagie, sorry. I think most of our following knows where they can find Mastro. But Hoagie.
You can find me on Insta at HoagieDude21. I don't use Twitter anymore. You can always hit me up on Facebook. I'm always on there sharing my dad jokes. So
who doesn't love a good dad joke? But thanks again for coming on, Hoagie. Kind of last second, we asked you to come on yesterday. You were a big help. It was nice to get kind of the crew back together here a little bit. Welcome on any time. Of course, Mastro, I will see you tomorrow afternoon at the Flyers game. I'm sure you're amped and just as excited as I am.
I'm excited for you guys. I'll be there in spirit.
I'll definitely shoot you some good old Snapchats there, buddy.
I'm sure you will.
All right, Mastro, anything you want to add real quick before signing off this evening?
I got nothing.
You got nothing. All right. Well, thanks to everyone who will be listening and watching this podcast later this evening. Of course, now I get to work on uploading it to SoundCloud, so you can go to iTunes. That's where you can listen to the podcast icons in iTunes podcast, and of course now on our YouTube page. So everyone get the word out, spread the word out. Of course, our Facebook page as well, and get everything out there. But another good episode tonight with two of my better friends, and we'll see the ball forward. We will be back next week for another pod, Mastro and I, and let's go Flyers.
Let's go Flyers.